Yo, what up, Tushy here. Today we're going to be talking about Mommy Swan because I figured why not talk about her because I'll be rolling for her on my account. We're going to do this video a little bit more differently than we did for the Sparkle video, only because I can't go too much in depth on Black Swan without obviously saying the leaks, but she is a character that is very similar to Sampo. I mean, it only makes sense. She's a 5-star Nihility character. Sampo is a 4-star Nihility character. They're both of the same element, and 2.0 is looking to have actual character creep. So Black Swan is as niche as she gets. She is going to be Kafka's best ally and only Kafka's best ally. Now there is a bunch of other ways you can use the character because of what is contained in the character's actual kit, Black Swan in this case. But the cool thing about having Black Swan is that Kafka is going to overall deal even more damage than she was dealing previously in the dot teams with Sampo. Sampo already puts out a decent amount of damage into the field, but now that you have a 5-star version of Sampo, you'll be putting out more damage on the field and you'll be buffing more because remember, Sampo already buffs dots in his kit. Sampo increases the dot taken by the enemy up to 32%. This is comparable to Kafka's E1. And the fact that matters is that he puts this on an AoE is very valuable. Now Black Swan can do this too. And since she has our multipliers because she's a 5-star, she's going to deal even more dot damage on the enemy. So 5-star Sampo, you're able to deal more dot damage in the form of wind shear, and you're able to increase the damage of the allies even more because you increase the dot taken from those enemies. So think of Kafka E1 but on an AoE, so you're hitting every enemy on the field and giving them the increased dot taken. In combination with characters like Ron May, who's giving the resistance penetration, you're getting break effect, and you're getting even more damage increase for the dots in general. You're going to have a character that is able to put out more damage, increase the damage of everyone on the field. Ignoring the defense of the enemy with dots is increasing the damage massively for these characters. So if you combine the ignore defense from the dot set in combination with the ignore defense after reaching a certain amount of stacks with the character, again, I won't say too much about Black Swan herself, but you're going to ignore even more of the enemy's defense, which is a huge DPS increase. So with a 5-star character that niche, she'll be the first character in Honkai Star to be as niche as she is. Is there any other standout features about her kit alone that makes her a little bit more of a flexible character? There's one thing I was thinking about, and if she was able to give defense shred on the AoE, just like Pela does, wouldn't that make her a much more universal character? Because again, if she has access to putting out a lot of damage on the enemy, and increasing the damage the enemies take with her own damage, wouldn't she be good for teams that wants the defense shred while also wanting more DPS overall for the team? Why go through the hassle of that when a 4-star can already do that? The interesting thing about dot teams in Honkai Star is that you only have to match the elements the enemy is weak to. If the enemy is weak to various different elements, like for instance, being weak to fire and being weak to lightning, then all you have to do is match the respective elements, such as putting Kafka. Obviously, Kafka will be in every single dot team, and then having Guinai Fen or having Himiko, for instance, even though Himiko doesn't have her own dot damage. I mean, she does have a burn, but it's not on the tier of Guinai Fen, for instance. But since you are incentivized for having more damage dealers, not only in the team of Ron May, but more dot characters in a team with someone that is enhancing the dot damage of everyone in the team, you have two options. You can use another Harmony character alongside your other Harmony character, or you can use another dot character with the Harmony character, in this case Ron May, and then you have a triple dot team with Kafka, Sampo, and Black Swan, or you can have Kafka, Guinai Fen, Black Swan. You can have Kafka, Himiko, and Black Swan. The choices you have with dot teams are endless when it comes to Black Swan. The only reason why I bring up this combination with Asta, Ron May, and Black Swan and Kafka is because Dance 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 on Asta allows you to get a lot of action for it alongside a speed boost, which means a lot of times you'll push ahead of the enemy and you have access to other premium options for other characters. You're getting more speed, not only from Ron May, but more speed for characters like Kafka if you have her 5-star light cone, and that allows you to take more turns. You'll break the enemy's toughness more, and then you'll delay their action, deal even more damage, and kill the enemy before they essentially kill you. But the most safe route for every player would of course just be putting Huo Huo in slot of your second Harmony character and having a team with Huo Huo, Kafka, Black Swan, and Ruan Mei, which will be the best team for Kafka in general alongside Black Swan. And that's because the energy and the attack that Huo Huo gives to the team is very valuable for a character that has a pretty expensive ult. And I mean, for the dot teams in general, attack percentage is king because it allows your dots to deal even more damage. Huo is a character that is skill point neutral because in this team, aside from Ruan Mei, you don't have anyone else generating skill points. One thing to take into consideration is that Black Swan, to me, is seeming to be a skill point positive character just because that's been the current trend of characters in Honkai Star that are support category. Aside from Huo, she's, exception to the rule here. The only thing stopping this character from being busted is the fact that a lot of the character's value in dot teams and teams in general is around E1, which gives a speed increase and allows you to be completely skill point positive. So how is Black Swan and Kafka going to compare to Hypercarry and Honkai Star? Because obviously people want to have the team that deals the most damage and clears the fastest, right? That is a part of the in-game contents for many players. Well, the thing is about Black Swan and Kafka, you have two 5-star characters dealing damage in the form of dot, a lot of damage, because they both have very nice multipliers, and they're able to increase the damage of one another if you have access to some items for Kafka, considering this is her first rerun, and Black Swan being able to increase the dot damage of everyone in the team. And if you have access to Ruan Mei, giving a lot of damage bonus, break effect, and increasing the overall speed of the team, so you take more actions. And then you have the last character being a character like Woho giving energy attack to the team. Now, while this may be one of the most expensive team, no, it is the most expensive team in the game, going to be one of the best teams in the game, just because everyone in the team complements one another. And again, you're just shelling out so much damage because of the nice multipliers and all of the damage amplification being funneled into one another. Let's talk about the single-handedly best thing about dot characters across the board, though. The best thing about dot characters is that they are the easiest characters to build in Honkai Star Rail. You only need attack, speed, effect hit rate if they have debuffs that have a lower chance of being landed on the enemy. And if you take into consideration a lot of those things, except for effect hit rate, you can get from outside sources, allows these characters to be built even more easily. And only hunting two stats that are actually not as hard to obtain as some of the harder stats like crit, for instance, and then you obviously want to have the best ratio possible with crit. You'll have a team that essentially saves you a lot of the headache of farming and is extremely consistent, just extremely consistent, because you don't have to worry about whether or not your character crits and then messes with the rotation because they didn't crit. So that's part of the reason why I recommend the dot playstyle to most people, because if you're a new player, the dot playstyle is the best team you could go with. And the only reason why is because it's very consistent. It is the easiest comp to build in the game. And the only thing you have to worry about is just getting the characters, of course. Now, that is a problem for everyone across the board. Okay, maybe not everyone, because from the times I look at Reddit, it seems like everyone has amazing luck in Honkai. So that's not the case. It's just people with recency bias and everything. But that's going to be the video here. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this. I'm personally rolling for Black Swan, so definitely look forward to videos on this channel going over the character. Of course, when she does release, we'll talk more about the character and all that jazz. All I can really say for now, though, is that she is pretty much locked to Kafka and Kafka teams only, which isn't such a bad thing, because if you take into consideration, that's kind of Silverwolf in a sense being locked to Mono Quantum right now, aside from using her with Dr. Ratio in different teams and stuff like that. But most of the time, you're using her alongside Seal and other Quantum characters like Yugi, for instance. So, niche is not such a bad thing. Niche is a great thing because then characters aren't overlapping one another and all of a sudden you have overloaded nonsense, what Ruan Mei is essentially. Thank you for watching and have a nice rest of your day. Peace.